You know, I hate to predict what your first year in recovery will look like. We're all different. Everybody's experience is different. There are some folks who, you know, they accept the reality of their brokenness. They step into recovery. They accept coaching. They surrender quickly. And they're sober from the day they walk in the door for the first time. They never have a slip. I envy those people. They're not typical. That was not my experience. I was a champion slipper early on, mostly because I was so deeply entrenched in my own way of thinking. And it was hard for me to give up control, hard for me to give up my own deeply held biases. And I have to say that even my version of the Christian faith, the moralistic, performance-based faith that I brought into this phase of my life, handicapped me in some ways. Because I tried to do by self-effort things that no person can ever accomplish on his own. But I did experience what in recovery is often called the pink cloud. There's this first phase of recovery. You come to the first meeting. You catch a glimpse of what life can be like. You meet these people in this crazy, huge underground, this subculture of recovery, and people whose experiences match your own, but they've got a life that you want. And so there's hope for freedom, and you start to come alive, and you start to tell the truth, and the obsession goes away, typically. That's called the pink cloud. And I really thought that I was fixed from day one. They told me that there were steps to take, there was work to do. But I didn't do any of the work until the cloud evaporated. I hit the wall again and found myself engaged once again in the old behavior. They told me that I needed to come to meetings, but that I couldn't get sober and stay sober on meetings alone. I didn't listen to that advice early on. I tried just to do that. I had kind of been trained as a guy who grew up going to church. I was kind of trained to live from meeting to meeting. And I was willing to make that investment in the program early on, show up at a meeting. What I eventually learned was that those meetings are just a portal into a fellowship. That I needed to identify with the fellowship. I needed to make friends. I needed to find somebody to be what we called in 12-step recovery a sponsor, what in the Samson Society we call a Silas, a close friend who would learn my whole story and who would walk beside me for a while and listen to me and provide feedback and coaching and direction. Not a Yoda, not a guru, but a fellow traveler, somebody with a little more experience than me, who knew a little bit about the road ahead and who had the great advantage of objectivity. You know, that my sponsor's greatest asset was that he wasn't me. And even though he was still messed up, we're all still messed up, he could be more objective about my life than about his own. And I learned that allowing him to help me helped me and helped him. I didn't finally turn the corner in recovery until I finally surrendered to the fact that I needed to have real relationships, that I needed an authentic friend. And I needed to talk to that friend every day, if only by making a phone call and leaving a message on voicemail. That's a huge step. In recovery, the old guys talk a lot about the 500-pound telephone. It's tough to pick it up and make that call. Making that call in and of itself is an admission that I can't do this alone. And it's for that reason that it has enormous spiritual benefit. So your first year can be better than mine. I hope it is. I hope you take this advice to heart and you clear those hurdles quicker than I did. You can find your way to freedom quickly. Most of us take much longer to do the work of recovery than we need to, because we're resistant, because we're proud, because we're afraid. You can do it. You can't do it alone, but if you'll surrender, if you're willing to join the human race, you can do this thing.